Hi y'all, I'm back. As far as with, I know that I just made another video just a few minutes ago. Right now we're getting ready to do, it's called Huevos con chorizo, which is eggs with Mexican sausage. And with this, you definitely want to cook the sausage first. I would think that if you were to do that with any kind of American sausage, you would want to do the same. Or cook them at the same time. I'm not exactly for sure. So this is how this is going to be. Whenever you get any kind of sausage, usually actually this is one that came from the Mexican store, so it's going to be a teeny bit different. You don't have anything tying off the ends like you typically would any kind of chorizo that you find at Walmart, which especially if you don't know about chorizo, I would definitely recommend start with the chorizo that you find at Walmart. It's good, it's tasty, it's fine. Nothing wrong with it. I just was at the Mexican store the other day with my father-in-law and he's like, hey, get you some. So I said, hey, why not? My boys absolutely love chorizo. So as far as this, you can do even with the chorizo that you find at Walmart. Just letting y'all know. I have already turned on my burner. Let's see. You can't really see it from here. I apologize. Let me see if I can put this back a teeny bit. You can barely see the pan that I'm going to be putting this in, but as far as that goes, I've already turned it on so that it'll be nice and hot. But as far as with any of the chorizo, you can take it and open it up like this. If you get the stuff that's from Walmart that's got like the little ties at the end, feel free to just cut off one of the ties and kind of squeeze it out almost like a tube of toothpaste. That's definitely fine to do, either or, whatever that you're comfortable doing. But of course, since this has no ties, it's kind of hard to do that. So I'm going to just keep on ripping it up until it comes out, and I'm going to cut the skin, casing, whatever you want to call it, that's around it. And almost like an Italian sausage type thing, it's the same deal. And I think that on some rare occasions I've seen chorizo that was just like a lump, almost like sometimes that you'll find Italian sausage. But at the same time, what I've mostly ever worked with has been your typical link sausage type with the chorizo as well. So there we go. We got it all pretty much. It's already out of the casing pretty well. So we're going to take that and we're just going to throw it into the frying pan. And give me just a moment. I'm going to take the casing the rest of the way off. It looks pretty disgusting, but you know, hey, right? It's what's on the inside. So here we go. Gonna dump that in there. I'm sure you can probably hear a little bit of the sizzling. And I'm gonna pause it for just a minute so that I can wash my hands. Okay, so it doesn't really matter that it took a couple extra seconds. This is not gonna cook within that couple extra seconds. So I just put it on. Now it's about in between medium low, and medium heat. You just want to kind of cut it up with whatever that you're using to cook it with. I'm using a spatula because I'm trying to make sure that I don't scratch up my pots. But at the same time, whatever that you're using, just cut it up kind of like what you would do with ground beef. Okay? Because that's kind of the consistency that you're going to want with huevos con chorizo anyways. So it's just kind of, some of it I'm just kind of, I would say mushing it rather than cutting it up. But I sometimes do that with my ground beef as well because it helps it to separate. So I'm going to keep on doing this for a minute and then I'll show you what it looks like once it's starting to get done in a moment. It doesn't take super long for this to get cooked. And it is one of those meals that can be ready very quickly, including the salsa. I think that I might, including the salsa and now the tortillas, which are right here, I probably will have taken around an hour cooking time at tops. And probably you could be doing the whole thing at the same time. I just did it separately because of the fact that I was trying to do the video. If I were doing this at a normal time in my home, I'd be doing the salsa at the same time that I'm doing this. There's no reason, or else I would have started the salsa and then started cooking this. Because it's really no need to keep on, you know, making it take a long time. Many Mexican dishes do take a bit of a long time, but not necessarily, it doesn't have to, depending on the food that it is. Now that it's starting to warm up, I will show you really quickly. It's starting to crumble up like you would see with ground beef. So that's what you're looking for it to start to do. And once it darkens, and it will let go of quite a bit of the fat that it's got in it, that's what you're going to be looking for. It should be done once it darkens. And so it's getting there. It'll take another minute or so, and then it'll be pretty well ready, and we can add in the eggs, and then that'll be done. I'll give you just a minute, and then I'll show you when it's ready. Okay, so here we are. It's pretty well, the chorizo is cooked. You want it to be pretty much definitely cooked before you add in the eggs, just letting you know. Because it's not really going to cook that much more at all once the eggs are in there. As you can see, it's turned a nice, it will definitely change to a darker color, okay? That is what you are looking for, and once it's turned to that darker color, you can add your eggs, and you don't need any kind of extra fat or anything like that in the pan, because the chorizo itself will let out its own fat, kind of like baking kind of thing. And also, the other thing that I was going to mention is, if you do chorizo from Walmart, you may need to take off some of that fat before you add the eggs. So, because it might be a little bit overpowering. It might be a little bit too much fat. Now, as far as with this, I'm going to add the eggs individually. I don't want to add too much, but also, I'm considering that this is for me and 2 small children. So, 10 and 5 years old. So, they're not going to eat a whole lot. My 10-year-old is more the size of a 14 to 16-year-old, so he might eat a little bit more, but otherwise, we're good. So, I'm going to just add the eggs individually. I think I'm going to do probably right around a half dozen, maybe. We'll see what it looks like there. I want it to be a good ratio. I don't want it to be too much chorizo, too much egg. And if there's a little bit left over, I think I know of a couple of boys that may want it tomorrow morning for breakfast, even though typically eggs rewarmed is not usually a great idea, but they don't mind usually. So here we go. We're going to see how it looks. Now, I'm hoping that y'all can see this without this kind of spilling over. Alright, so I'm going to just keep on getting it, what is the word that I'm looking for?
It's turning red.
I'm going to stir it in so that it will get good and mixed up.
Mom, it's turning red.
Okay, yes, I know. And so, there we go with that. Wow. Now, granted, some of y'all may not prefer to have your eggs to be dry. I know a lot of people prefer wet eggs. Whereas while I was with the ex, I learned and very much so enjoy dry eggs. I like them to be like toasted, actually. And probably many people will probably look at me like, ugh, but at the same time, hey, do whatever you enjoy. Okay. Y'all do whatever you enjoy. If you enjoy a little bit of a wetter egg, let it stay a little bit wet. Who cares, right? But if you like it like I do, just let all the yolk and all the what is it called? The clara, which is the egg white. Let all that get good and let it get cooked. And pretty much once that's done, you're done. I mean, that's all you got to do. This is a super duper easy meal to do. So it's unnecessary to go and make it as if it's going to be, you know, treat it like it's a gourmet meal, because it's not. It is, this can be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. This for us is about to be dinner. And generally very inexpensive. Even I know that while I was with the ex, I didn't have the resources to be able to buy much meat. But chorizo was one of those meats that I could definitely afford, because generally a little pack of chorizo, at least back then, now with inflation it probably is going to be a little bit more if you go to Walmart, obviously, but a small pack around a pound-ish was around $3. So obviously, depending on how many people that you're making for, especially the 1 pound packets at Walmart, if you're making that, depending on how many people that you're making it for, then that will determine. And also the ones at Walmart, they can tend to be a little bit more fatty, so they're going to let off a lot more of their oil. So you got to compensate for that. Kind of like if you are going to be using 90% ground beef, 90% lean versus, or 97%, let's just say, for example, 96, 97, as opposed to 85. Okay, it's kind of like that. So obviously this is just about done. We're just about ready. I don't know. Let's see if I can find a spot that looks good to me. Give it just a second and I'll show you. Okay, here we are. Ah, poo. It doesn't want to come up. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to show this to you. Let me see if I can turn it around. I probably can't really see it very well. I'm trying to make it where, see, it looks a little bit toasted, not just it's from the oils from the chorizo as well, but also it's a teeny bit toasted on the eggs. And like I said, you don't have to wait until it's that long. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. It's fine. You don't need for it to be super dry. If you don't want it like that, that is obviously personal desire, personal taste. But absolutely get it where you want it. This can be served obviously with tortillas. I would recommend having a green salsa that goes with it. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. This can go by itself with the tortillas. But the green salsa just gives it an extra boom of flavor, really yummy. Really delicious, and my boys especially love it with actually some sour cream and what's it called, and I also enjoy the flavor. It doesn't need sour cream if you don't want it, but it can be served with sour cream if you want it. And there we go. So as I've already said in all my other videos, or at least most of them, I hope that these videos are helpful. Feel free to subscribe, like the videos. Definitely, if they're being helpful, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, because that will help them to pop up whenever by some miracle I record another one. No, actually, hopefully I'm going to be doing something in the very near future. It probably won't be a lot, but I've got some potatoes that I want to use before they go bad, and so I will likely make another video on a recipe that actually I think I made up on my own. If I found it from somewhere else, I apologize because I don't remember. But I kind of sort of made it up on my own, and I have served it at Mexican potlucks. I have given it to my in-laws, and they were absolutely enthralled. So it's not necessarily Mexican food, but it's definitely delicious. And it doesn't have to be spicy at all, the other dish. But as I said, I hope that these are helpful. I hope you subscribe to my channel, and have a delicious day.